Hello everyone, welcome to GNU according to CD, that is Government of National Unity. So guys, as I have said earlier, that I am going to break apart the Home Affairs Portfolio Committee submissions that were made by the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, and his amazing team. So I did pick one of the deliveries that were made from, I forgot what's his name, anyways, the video that I showed you guys earlier, and then when I made that, I was going to break this piece by piece. So this is the thing that I am picking up in this particular segment. I'm starting from the back, going to the front with this video. So basically, this segment is talking about naturalization.
The first part that we are raising as a major policy reform is that the number of years that a foreign national has resided in the country will no longer be a main determining factor for granting permanent residence. Periodic invitations for qualifying foreigners to apply for permanent residence will be introduced together with a point-based system.
So naturalization, for the longest time, there are people, even right now, the refugees and asylum seekers and people that have been in South Africa illegally for 10, 12, 15, 20 years, they're actually saying that it is their right, since they've been in South Africa for so long, to be naturalized as the citizens of South Africa. And they are really demanding for this, which is something that is quite upsetting when you think about it, because they're also manipulating the immigration laws and systems as well. That, okay, all I have to do is just be perseverant and endure for the next 5 years, because according to the current immigration law, which by the way, they are overhauling, I forgot to mention this, that the Immigration Act is being overhauled. Basically, what this means is they are looking at everything that is disadvantaging South Africa when it comes to immigration laws. They are examining and re examining the machinery so that they can fix this machinery called Immigration Act or immigration laws of the country, because somewhere, somehow, our immigration system or our immigration policy seems to be highly connected with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, or vice versa. That is why you have asylum seekers or refugees, or somebody that purports to be a refugee or asylum seeker. Guess where they go to? To actually have the status confirmed, they go to the courts. Now, the court will look at the constitution and then look at the immigration law and then say, but this person is correct, make him a citizen. And then that's how they become a citizen, or they become permanently South African a citizen, or whatever the case might be. So now they are overhauling this because there are a lot of people that came to South Africa on a visitor's visa, and then they overstayed their welcome, and then they learned our immigration law, that, oh, this immigration law has so many loopholes, and now they are using those loopholes. Hence you are seeing some of the illegal foreigners fighting back the police, and then when the camera is rolling, they say that they've been in South Africa for X number of years. And then if you look at the immigration law, it does say if you've been in South Africa for 5 years and more, you qualify or you become eligible for naturalization, right? So, as same goes with an asylum seeker, and the asylum was successfully granted to them, or refugee status was successfully granted to them, and then if they still remained in South Africa for the next 5 years, therefore they become eligible for naturalization, meaning they're qualified to become permanent residents of South Africa. So now this overhaul, which this brother is explaining, is that the time frame of how long you've been in South Africa in order for you to become eligible for naturalization is no longer going to play a factor. Whether you'll be in South Africa for 100 years, that does not mean you are eligible for naturalization. However, if you are going to be contributing positively into the South African society, especially the economy, then South Africa, according to the white paper, they are going to invite you. South Africa will invite you. This is very critical to understand. South Africa will invite you to apply for permanent residency. So now let's say you are in South Africa and you are contributing positively, maybe from the critical skill side, or maybe while you were in South Africa, probably as, I don't know, whatever you may have come to South Africa for, and you are still legal in South Africa. And let's say you open a business. Probably, let's say you win 200 million rand in the South African lotto, even the US lotto, and then South Africa sees an opportunity out of that. They will invite you, therefore, to become a South African citizen. Maybe you contribute in our sports, just like the Mr. Beast, not Mr. Beast, the Beast Mutawarira. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his surname correctly. Yeah, the Zimbabwean that played for the Springboks. I always see people throw him in the debates without understanding that Mutawarira, the reason why he was naturalized is because he was contributing positively into the South African sports, including winning us World Cups in the rugby field. So South Africa therefore went and invited him. Basically, I believe it's the South African Springboks that made that application for him to become a South African citizen, and he was granted. Why? Because he was contributing positively into the South African sports. So maybe in business, maybe your business is making hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, or even rands, or even hundreds of millions of rands. South Africa can come and invite you to naturalize. So that is very critical to understand, instead of you saying, oh no, I've been in South Africa for X number of years and therefore I'm eligible for naturalization. No, it's not going to work like that no more. You have to contribute positively. The other thing that I'm kind of like, it's if also when you are investing in South Africa, maybe there's a minimum investment threshold that you that will naturalize you. For example, if you look at Saint Kitts, what would you call it? Saint Kitts and Nevis. It's an island in the Caribbean. In order for you to become a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, you need to invest $250,000. When you invest $250,000, St. Kitts and Nevis will give you a St. Kitts and Nevis passport, meaning now you are the citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay, St. Kitts and Nevis. So South Africa is adopting a similar line there, that if you are going to contribute, not contribute, invest X a number of, I don't know what the threshold is going to be according to the final policy. Maybe it's going to be $250,000 as well. I don't know. Then you will be invited to become a citizen, I mean, a permanent resident of South Africa. So no more free ride for those that think, oh, all I have to do is just until the right time comes and then I'm naturalized. Now, the other part that I felt was missing is where a foreign national man marries a South African woman. In most cases, what these guys, particularly the Nigerians, they will wait 5 years after marrying a South African citizen. They will stay with her, breed with her, and then 5 years later he becomes eligible, and then he walks into Home Affairs and say, "Hello, my name is Abogyaye or whatever, Chioma or Bogyaye, and I've been in South Africa for the past 6 years. I am married to a South African lady for the past 5 years. I've got X number of children with her, and I believe I qualify now to become a South African citizen." Of course, Home Affairs is not going to argue. Home Affairs is going to look at the papers and say, okay, indeed, this person has been in South Africa for 6 years, married for 5 years, has X number of children with a South African citizen. Boom, they are now a citizen, a South African citizen. Now, where these crooks become crooks is that the moment he gets his passport, or his, I mean, he will of course get his South African ID, then he applies for a passport. And from what I've heard, there's three women that have already shared with me their story. They wanted me to talk about it, but I felt like it's fruitless to talk about their story on my channel. However, the story is the husband, the Nigerian husband. In most cases, those three women they were married to a Nigerian man. Uh, the husband will wake up in the morning, say, "I am going to collect my passport," because they would have gotten an SMS that, hey, your passport is ready. So they will decide to go collect the passport and the ID on the same day. And then they go to Home Affairs, but they never return. You know why they never returned? Because While they were waiting for their IDs, they also booked a flight to Canada, US, UK, or wherever that they always wanted to go to, because South Africa was a springboard for them. Springboard in what way? By coming to South Africa on a visitor's visa, stay in South Africa, marries a South African woman, stays for a year, 5 years, and then becomes eligible for citizenship. And once he's eligible or qualified to be a citizen, then he applies for a passport and ID, and then off he goes the very same day he receives his passport. And then the South African wife, asale kamsile, wondering where my husband is. And in most cases, before he even leaves, he withdraws everything in the bank account, everything. He starts selling off cars, and his brothers or his friends, inverted commas, will come and collect all of these things, including the house. And the South African woman finds herself on the streets with the children. Yeah, South African women. I can't say, oh no, you don't deserve this. Clearly, you have not read the room about these people, but this should be added onto the white paper. A South African woman that marries a foreign national, she becomes his country's citizen, not he becomes the citizen of South Africa. That cannot happen. There is no way we're gonna have Nakuzana or husband Makotis in South Africa no more. So basically, this is what this segment of the this gentleman's delivery in the portfolio committee submissions. Then we are going to talk about asylum seekers and refugees in the next segment, because there is or there are trends that the Home Affairs has already discovered about some people coming into South Africa with the guise of they come as a visitor and then they overstay their welcome. And then when they get arrested to be deported, that's when they turn around and say, wait a minute, I'm an asylum seeker.
There's a trend that we've also been seeing is that when somebody is illegal in the country, when they are being arrested for transgressing immigration laws, then they claim asylum. So we're saying asylum seekers in that instance must show good cause for their unlawful entry and presence in the country before we can deal with that particular matter. So I think it's quite an important area also that we need to look at.
And they can actually take Home Affairs to court and even win the case, because Section 34 of the Immigration Act was declared unconstitutional by the Constitutional Court, and now they want to remedy that part of Section 34 of the Immigration Act, so that these illegal foreigners, when they get arrested, imagine this is a person who came with a visitor's visa, turns around and say, I am now an asylum seeker. How do you fly? Fly, this is the operative word, from Nigeria, gets to South Africa, and then you overstay your welcome. Then when you get arrested, you say, no, I am actually seeking for asylum. And then, okay, I don't want to get into this one because it also involves the first safe country principle. And now this gentleman is talking about refugee offices or centers that they are going to open at border entry. So, meaning all the border gates, instead of these refugee offices being inland, like Cape Town, Durban, Johannesburg, and Pretoria, now Okabeja, they are now going to be at the port of entries. That means at the airport as well as the border gates, because one of the ways that the illegal foreigners have played South Africa is the fact that there are no there are no refugee offices in the border gates for them to actually declare themselves as refugees or asylum seekers, but they are allowed to come inland. And then when they get arrested, suddenly now they remember that South Africa has refugee centers or asylum seeking centers, which are, like I said, they are based in the major cities of South Africa. And I'm asking myself a question like, Kantivele, the ANC, what were they doing? What was this political party doing? Now, guys, let's be honest without being emotional and sentimental and whatever it is that we used to do when it comes to this particular political party. What on earth were they doing? What were they doing? Because even if you listen a little bit closer, This whole naturalization process, it sounds bad. Yo, it sounds bad. You should even listen to the citizenship segment that I'm also going to do. The citizenship segment will make you angry how people just simply become citizens of this country. Even though we do have Citizenships Act, which was appealed and appealed, not appealed, was I think advanced in 2013 from the one of 1995 or something like that. But we'll talk about that. You would be livid. That is why we are being played in this country. South Africa has not only become a refugee camp, but it is where people use this country as a springboard so they can get South African correct papers to go commit crimes with our name on the international stage. Man, you guys will be angry. But in just a in a snippet, basically this is what this segment was about. I'm trying to be as simple as I can, not to overload you with information as well. This one is just about naturalization and all the other stuff that this gentleman has said in the video. Those are the things that they are overhauling, looking at, especially everything that he has said is extracted from the white paper that they are currently busy doing. And I am hoping, from what I hear, this could be concluded by October 2024 and it could be law, hopefully, the beginning or the first quarter of 2025. So that all of these people go home. Honestly, it's time to go home, guys. And before this becomes law, I suggest you start packing and going home. You have how many months? October, November, December, January, February. Let's say it's going to be around April because the financial year ends in March, right? So you have October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Basically, you have 6 months. Start winding up whatever it is that you are trying to wind up because the Immigration Act is no longer going to play in your favor. That is, if you are an illegal foreigner and you're listening to this channel, start packing up because if you go and seek asylum from Home Affairs, you are going to be rejected. You are definitely going to be rejected. So before I go, I have this Nigerian lawyer advising illegal foreigners of what they need to do so that they can continue staying in South Africa. She's advising them that the moment you get arrested, just cry asylum. Say, I'm applying for an asylum. And if you say that they're not allowed to deport you because apparently there is a judgment that was passed last week by a Cape High Court that halted or stopped the deportation of asylum seekers. So basically, that is what is happening. So she is saying to others, including Nigerians that are illegally in South Africa, that if you are caught by the police and the aim is to deport you, just say you are asylum seeker and they will leave you alone because there's a court order until next year February. It's an interdict basically until next year February before the Cape High Court listens to the merits of Home Affairs application to deport illegal foreigners. I try not to get angry because of this, what we are doing right now with Home Affairs making this submission. It's not going to work for them anymore. Yes, if the police catches them, they are not going to be deported because of that order, especially once they cry asylum seeking. But then the question is, why would a Nigerian cry asylum seeking? I mean, what's happening in Nigeria that made you to come to South Africa as an asylum seeker? And why have you been in South Africa for this long for you now to cry asylum seeking? Because I think there should be paper trails to show that this individual did indeed come to Home Affairs to seek for asylum and they're just waiting for their status. So why, when now you are getting arrested and then you are crying asylum? Why would a Nigerian do that? Why would a Somali even do that? Why would an Ethiopian? Why would a Kenyan or whoever that is far off, like thousands of kilometers from South Africa? Why would you cry asylum? The people that I think would successfully cry asylum are Zimbabweans, Lesotho, Mozambique, Namibians, probably even Zambians. Everyone else that has to cross another country to get to South Africa, you don't qualify because you're supposed to have sought asylum in the first country that you have landed on before passing coming to South Africa, because that is the Geneva Agreement, right? So the Geneva Agreement, all courts that have taken a decision against Home Affairs, they never got to understand that part. The first safe country principle. So if you're going to run away from, let's say you are running away, and let's say there are wars definitely going on in Nigeria, for example, and then you are seeking refuge or refugee, I mean, a refuge or sanctuary somewhere, there is no way that you are going to come from Nigeria directly to South Africa. And then when you get to South Africa, you cry refugee or asylum. You need to go to the first safe country, meaning that means you have to have uh, what do you call it, jumped the fence to the next country, which is your neighboring country. And when you get to that neighboring country, you're supposed to have sought asylum and then wait for your asylum status to be approved, and then you apply for refugee status. And if it's approved, then you stay. There is no way that you are going to jump all these countries and get to South Africa and then say, "Oh, I am a refugee," or "I am seeking asylum." What about the Geneva Convention Agreement? Because the Geneva Convention Agreement says first safe country principle. So for a person from Somalia, there is no way that you can come to South Africa and cry, uh, what you call this, refugee or asylum when your nearest country is Kenya. You're supposed to jump the fence into Kenya, then you apply for asylum in Kenya. So for a person that is going, for example, a Zimbabwean, when they cross the fence into South Africa, they are eligible to cry asylum more than a Somali and an Ethiopian. So basically, this is what the white paper is basically talking to. And these are the things that we are going to be implementing. And to me, it sounds like a lot of asylum seekers that are coming far away from that means countries they have to skip before they get to South Africa. Their asylum applications are going to be rejected. And then, before I forget, work permits. Now, a work permit, from what they are saying, is it is any skill that does not exist in South Africa. So you cannot say, I am applying for a work visa if you are going to be a waiter. I mean, what called this, a waiter a job, it is not a rare skill. It is not a, what do you call, there's a word they call it. But then I'm talking about a skill that does not exist in South Africa. That is not a special skill at all that is required in South Africa. So all the work permits that are going to be issued in the future, once this white paper is approved, which is approved anyways, now they're going to be formulating into policy and then into law. That means you are not going to get a work permit if you are coming to South Africa to be a construction worker, or you are coming to South Africa to be a waiter, or you are coming to South Africa to be a domestic worker. No, you are not going to get work permit. That is why ZEP, the ZEP, is also being scrapped. Instead, you have to apply for a work visa. And if you don't have a special skill, unfortunately, you are going to be rejected. So, all of these things, that's exactly what they mean. So it's quite interesting. A lot of people are not going to be happy. And that way, we also avert the Constitution working against the Immigration what Act, particularly Home Affairs. So I am happy, GNU. This is amazing. I am very, very, very chuffed with what I am hearing. So let's see with the next segment what comes of it. See you later.